Welcome back. We've all watched the images coming out of Texas with a deep sense of sorrow, tragic stories of loss and pain. But there is also incredible pride at seeing the community come together. And then there are the logistics of dealing with such an enormous crisis. Few people understand what that takes. You may remember after the initial response to Hurricane Katrina was botched, President Bush brought in a new FEMA director, David Paulison, who had been the longtime chief of the Miami-Dade Fire Department. Paulison was back in South Florida this week, and I had a chance to catch up with him and talk about what he's seeing in Texas. Chief Paulison, give me your assessment of what you see going on right now in Houston.
What I see, the good things that are going on is a great coordination and communication between the federal government, the state government, and the locals. We didn't have that in Katrina. So we put things in place to make that happen. That part is working very well. The other thing I see working extremely well and very proud of is the neighbor helping neighbor. You see people coming in with boats from not only out of the city, but out of the state. Everybody coming in to lend a hand to get these people out of these flooded homes into some safe area. So that part is going very well. I see Texas has a great emergency management system, one of the best in the country. They've been there and they've done that. That piece is working very well. You know, I hear people out there saying that, oh, we're bringing the military, bringing all this. Quite frankly, it's going smoothly. We're getting people out of those homes. We're getting them where they need to be, where it's going to be a nice, safe place. It's going to be a long-term thing, but I see things flowing fairly well.
Long-term, what does that mean long-term? Are we talking, do you think that this is going to be following them for 6 months, a year, 5 years? What do you sort of define as long-term?
The whole piece of it is going to be years. Before we get this whole thing resolved. You saw Hurricane Andrew. We were talking about 10 years before things got back to normal. But the part that I'm worried about is the housing. Right now, people are in shelters or they're staying with friends and family, and the shelters are definitely not a nice place to stay for a long period of time. 3 or 4 or 5 days, yes, but then they need to get out of there and find what I call some permanent temporary housing. We need to find apartments, hotels and motels, single-family homes, duplexes, whatever we can do to get these families in a place where they can have a home again until they can get returned to their original home is put back together. You
really do have a unique perspective. You were Miami-Dade fire chief, I think you were appointed, you told me, just 2 weeks before Hurricane Andrew hit, and then you came in a couple weeks after Hurricane Katrina. So you saw a dry storm with heavy winds, like we had an Andrew that tore through quickly but did massive devastation. And you saw what happened in Katrina in New Orleans, where it was a very wet storm, and you saw the damage that water can do. If you had your choice of disasters, would you rather deal with high wind or high water?
Well, I'd rather deal with the high winds. Right now we're building our homes in South Florida to withstand those high winds, but that is a much easier type of debris to clean up. It's much easier. Either your home is destroyed or it's not. We have all this water. We have, you saw in Houston, water up to the roofs. Beaumont's the same way. And those homes, even if they're still standing, they're going to have to be totally gutted because there's going to be mold inside and mildew. The electrical system's got to be redone. It's almost like rebuilding a new house.
Is FEMA equipped to handle this? I mean, you were there through the Bush years. Your successor, Craig Fugate, another Florida native. We had a lot of Floridians come through FEMA because they understand disasters. He was there during the Obama years. What's your perspective? Is FEMA in a good position? Has it been adequately funded, or is that an area of concern?
I think FEMA's in a good position. Their new FEMA administrator, Brock Long, was the emergency manager of Alabama when I was the FEMA director. First-class person, very knowledgeable, a great emergency manager. He's putting a good team around him. I'm very comfortable with FEMA. I really am. Craig Fugate left a good, solid organization, and Brock Long will continue that on.
It's almost as if Donald Trump, the lesson of Hurricane Katrina that at least the Trump administration got right was make sure you don't put a crony in there, because obviously Bush put, Michael Brown in there, and we had that heck of a job Brownie moment that clearly was a problem. So I think there's almost an understanding that the one job you really cannot get wrong is the FEMA director, because if that goes wrong, a whole lot of things can spiral out of control from there.
We set the bar pretty high with FEMA, changing that whole philosophy. FEMA has 10 regions out there. When I was there, we filled all of those 10 regions with senior emergency managers who've been there and done that, 15, 20, 30 years experience dealing with disasters. And the Obama administration followed the same suit, and now I see the Trump administration doing the same thing.
What's your biggest concern right now in terms of looking at Houston? You talked about housing as an issue. Is it folks getting tired because we've seen such a massive, response by FEMA, by locals, by people just sort of coming in? But this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. Do you worry about some of those people getting tired out and being able to maintain this level of effort?
I do. We learned a hard lesson in Andrew, particularly with the fire service and emergency management. We burnt our people out. We had staff having stress-induced illnesses in the hospital. So we learned a hard lesson here. And we try to take that lesson learned and transfer it other places. So yes, I am concerned about the first responders. They want to go, they want to help, and they don't want to stop. But the people in charge of those first responders need to say, time out, let's take a break, you need a rest, take 12 hours off, and then come back to work.
How much? Let's talk about money for a second. What did Katrina end up costing in terms of the cleanup, and what do you think that Houston and the surrounding area, that the Hurricane Harvey, what do you think that cleanup's going to cost?
We're talking about tens of billions, if not $100 billion for Harvey. And that's something we have to address, because the way we're responding to disasters is simply not sustainable. We had Andrew, and then you had Katrina, and then Sandy, and now Harvey, and there's just the costs keep going up and up and up. We're spending 14 times more money on the response side than we are spending on the pre-disaster side, or pre-disaster mitigation. Look what we did here in Florida. We've all saw the homes that failed, brand new homes, Country Walk. They should not have failed. So we very carefully looked at that, and why did that building fail, and what failed? It was the windows and the doors and the way the roof was tied down.
We're actually seeing efforts now to almost weaken the building code. We're seeing some efforts of that locally because we haven't been hit in a while. So, I don't know how much, is it also about positioning resources well in advance, or can you really pre-position resources?
Well, it's not so much pre-positioning resources, it's doing your pre-disaster mitigation, knowing what's going to happen. We build homes back not so much in Florida, but the rest of the country, put it back in the same place, build them exactly the same way, and it's so predictable they're going to come down the same way again, or they're going to flood again.
But we talked before, so many of the people now affected by Hurricane Harvey don't have flood insurance because they weren't in quote-unquote flood zones.
Exactly.
What is a flood zone anymore?
Yeah. That's a good question. But I'm saying if we only have 16 states with statewide building codes, why don't we give an incentive to those states that have a good, solid building code that is enforced and a good mitigation plan in place, because that'll reduce our expenses on the backside. And those states that don't do that, maybe we should do a little stick on that part of it.
I wanted to ask you, because everyone's now looking at the map and they see Hurricane Irma working its way. Is FEMA able to fight a multi-front battle? Let's say the east coast of the United States gets hit with Irma or another storm. Can you deal with what's going on with Harvey and with another? Can you fight multi-front battles?
They can. Don't forget, we had Katrina, we had Ike, and we had Gustav, all back to back, all in the Gulf Coast, and we were able to muster enough resources to deal with those. I'm comfortable that they're going to be able to do that. Are they going to be stretched thin? Absolutely. Remember, we had 4 hurricanes in a row in Florida here, and FEMA was here, and they did a pretty good job of handling those 4 hurricanes. We
talked about the expense of this and possibly, $100 billion or who knows how much. Is fraud going to be inevitable? Is there any way that you can really guard and prevent fraud from happening? Or when you have this much money that's going to have to be spent, fraud is just going to be part of the cost of doing business?
Well, we don't want to be part of the cost of doing business. However, we know that people are going to try to defraud the government or even individuals. And so we make sure that we try to monitor everything. We have the General Accounting Office come in. We have auditors that come in to make sure we watch those dollars very carefully.
Debris removal, is that one area that is often like ripe for fraud?
It is. Debris removal is one of the issues we have to deal with, and we have to watch it very carefully. And because we have debris contractors coming from everywhere, and rightfully so, because they need a lot of help. There's always a lot of debris after a hurricane. And so you have to watch that, but you have to watch everything else. Sometimes it's just a mistake. A state may ask for money for something and get paid for something that's not an eligible expense. So we go back and audit that, and we take those dollars back.
When you see a storm like this, is there a part of you that wants to get back in there?
No.
And no, not at all?
It's for the younger guys now. Brock Long will do a great job, and I will do whatever I can do to make him successful. We've talked on the phone already, and he's doing the right things, and will continue to do the right things. And yes, I will do whatever I can do to help. Do I want to be in charge of FEMA again? No, I've been there and done that, and it's time for somebody else to do that.
Chief Paulison, I really appreciate your time. I hope you don't mind. I still call you Chief.
That's okay.
From the days of Miami-Dade. Good to see you again.
Good to see you, Jim.
Take care.